Yo, 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 yo. What is going on, COD Familia? It is your boy BN, aka Mr. Kingdom Builder. And today, I thought it would be awesome to talk about Cavalry buffs. And the recent one that just came from the latest update, 1.0.31, Golden Autumn. We're going to talk about the buff. I'm going to give you my thoughts. And then we're also going to read some pieces of feedback from the community. And what do they think about it? This should be fun. As always, if you enjoy the content, make sure you throw us up because it helps out a lot. So number one. Let's read what is the actual change and what's happening here. So this is in the patch notes. You can find these in-game or on the official Discord. If you go to number 6, even richer combat experience, number 1, it states, strengthen cavalry unit skill unyielding rush in order to make cavalry units more effective in team warfare. Previously, march speed increases when approaching the target legion, meaning you get faster. After colliding with the ranged legion, the hero commanding this legion gains 1000 rage. Legions cannot be intercepted while charging. This effect can be triggered once every 10 seconds. Now, that came out of nowhere. Now, march speed increases when approaching the target legion. Legion colliding with a ranged legion. The hero commanding legions gains 1000 rage. And now gains valiant. For each attack received from a ranged legion, the legion deals 15% more damage, max 75% for 10 seconds. So as you keep getting hit and you're losing HP, you are gaining more damage. Rush triggers once every 10 seconds. While rushing, a legion cannot be intercepted and takes 80% less damage, but cannot launch counterattacks. So not only do you get damage mitigation, but you're also getting increased damage. So what do some of the peeps from the community think about this? Well, let's go ahead and take a read. So as I was perusing, I saw this first one where Cinco had asked, okay, well, what cav buff? So someone said you get like 75% skill damage based off how many times you got hit on the charge. Then we have Face says, depends on if you want one cav march or two. Right, mentioning some Tobin Urag are good, Emrys Bakshi for Androthea support for DPS March. And then we have, you have 15% chance stack on each normal attack. After 5 seconds, you get extra 75%. You get 80% immunity when damages while rushing. And then if we keep going, where is it? Then I saw something down here. Hyped, Prime. Oh, never mind. Let's go to the next one. So this one, yeah, with the new Cav, someone says Cavalry is going to rip now. We got one that was a little bit earlier from Overconfidence saying they buff Cavs. They buff Cavs, but Cav are still most costly troops to heal. Played 6 more heroes. Let's see if anyone said anything else. We don't accept Cav hate and infantry unappreciation in this chat. By Mitty. That's good. Let me see. Tisha had said over here, where's this one from him? Let me click one more time. Sometimes it doesn't go all the way. They knew Mags A2 OP, so they didn't give it bet initially. Now they give, here, let's go up top. That'll help a little bit. Where's this? Well, now they give more anti-range skills to new heroes and buff calves so they can release pet. Let's see here. We got Midget going, especially with the cav buff incoming, better off trying to get into top 10 in a couple of Tobin SLEs, unless the new cav skin turns out to just be that cracked. Let me see, still 5 months to save. That wins a cav skin for G2 for sure. Let me see, also Alliance. Okay. Another one, right, should I suggest them to buff cav even more because I think they are not strong enough. Stop being a hater, please. The buff is actually a W. Freerun from BDO says that. Cav of Blah. Let me see what they have. Anyone else mentioned? I agree. I just have 90% of my wounded because of Cav. Because Inf that is supposed to counter Cav doesn't. Cavs are bad. They can't deal damage. Stop. Make them look like they are OP or something. Cavs can be intercepted too. You just need rush with Inf after they rush. But your damaged legion is dead. Okay. And then, here we go. We got Celsius Cav buff again. They still aren't going to work. We're getting another buff 3 patches from now. When you look in the direction of Cav Legion, they deal 99999 whatever percentage more damage. Then it still doesn't work. Watch NTSU's Cavs. This is funny that someone said this, and then they ended up using Cav. I can't remember if it was right after the update when they were trying to push against Echo. And so I don't know if it was timed out that way, but I know there was a moment where people were saying that they were using Cav. So super interesting on that. What I will say is that if we do go back in game, I do like the change. And I think that even though, for myself, I'm not usually someone who's showing off a lot of PvP gameplay, I very much like to hear from the community on these fronts. However, this buff, whether you want to say that it's absolutely bringing things back into line where this might now be kind of the ranged meta killer, we'll have to see if it ends up panning out that way. I do think that the buff in and of itself is a W for Cav players, mainly just because for the amount of time the game has been out, I cannot tell you how many suggestions and feedback and comments I've heard from Cav players that just wanted to feel more involved. They wanted to feel more, whether it's appreciated or just almost kind of having a seat at the table where their units can really impact in a more grand scale of a way. And I think this is something from the feedback we've heard from a couple of people I've talked to, along with what generally seems to be happiness, even if, again, we're not saying that the buff itself is now all of a sudden going to overtake and Cav is now going to be the meta. If that ends up being the case, well, that'll be interesting to see as things play out down the road, and I think we'll probably get a better gauge of that through the remainder of the current season for KVKs, and then when the next season comes up as well, how impactful is Cav being? However, what I would love to know is from you out there, if you are Cav mains, if you run Cav, if you have a Cav group, if you have an alliance that has been considering, hey, maybe we should all train a bunch of Cav and just run that LOTR Rohirrim Pact out there in the world just to see how things might play out as we flank the infantry and just get around to the mages and just destroy them, or how much damage can we really do? I'd love to hear, is that a plan? Is that a hope? Are you excited about the Cav buff? Do you think it is going to have some kind of major change and impact? Or, you know what, it did move the needle a little bit, but not enough to where it's really allowing for a meta shift. Because I think for me, the idea when we're looking at PvP that is being conducted in the game, I think the general hope is that we would like to see some kind of like triangle system that you often hear me talk about, right? Where there is some kind of, oh, and look at that, didn't already work their way in? Oh, look at that, they did. Shocker, right? So for me, it's more of, okay, well, what are we going to be able to get to a situation where we kind of have these pure hard counters of what you would imagine that infantry would counter Cav, Cav would counter ranged, flying would maybe count. I mean, again, it depends. Are you going to fit flying, archers, and mage into the same category? I mean, you potentially maybe could. And if that's the case, do you just do a simple triangle where infantry will counter archers, mages, and flying? And then those units, infantry counters Cav, and then Cav will counter those three flyings, and then the flying counters infantry, right? Is it going to be something like that? Will you just do kind of a pure system where it's each 5 and you just kind of do like infantry, Cav, archers, mage, flying, and then it just kind of goes like that and each one kind of counters the next? I mean, yeah, there is the diagram that we have where, like, again, if you were to go, so just to give an example here, if we go back in and let's say we click on one of these, boom, and we do, is it inf? Yeah. You could see here's the advantage system, right? It's supposed to be, hang on, and then let's go, flying should be with mage too as well, right? So let's go with here, just to kind of give you an example. Let's go infantry, right? So you can see they're highlighted as mage. So mage and flying are the same. And this is how it's supposed to work. Mage and flying are supposed to counter infantry. Infantry is supposed to counter Cav. Cav is supposed to counter archers. And then archers are supposed to counter flying and mage. So this is what the system is right now. However, I guess my point is, and I wonder this is something, when you play traditional RTS games, you will often see that there are hard counters, right? Even when I was playing, I'll give you an example. When I was playing, like, for example, if you have like a sniper, well, your sniper should be countering infantry. And your air should be countering infantry, right? Your tanks should be countering, flying counters tanks, tanks counters infantry, infantry counters flying. Like, that's kind of how it is, and these are hard systems. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't have flying units that are killing off infantry in that kind of a triangle type of counter system. You can. It's just that they'll do reduce damage, and the infantry will do increased damage. And it's enough to where if it's kind of a 1-to-1 ratio on the field, like you will lose, right? The side that is getting countered will lose. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it if they're at the same tier and probably within a certain tier range margin as well, I should state, as a little asterisk there. And so to me, I wonder, and I don't know if anyone's done this testing yet, because I haven't seen any videos of it. I think I've heard of some people doing it. But one of the things that I wonder is if anyone has done any testing on, let's do 5 marches of mage going up against 5 marches of archer, right? At the same tier level, same VIP level, right? No artifacts, no war pets on there, or if it is, it's the same at the same levels, like trying to make it as much of a 1-to-1 ratio. And I would love to see if it is absolute. Like, is this advantage counter system just correct? Because I don't know if anyone's done those testings. And that's something that, again, I wish I had either a budget to level up an account or just had more time available where I could invest to kind of get to those areas, right, as quickly as possible, because those are things I'd love to see. And then also would love to do like varied testing. And again, I'm sure alliances internally do those things, but for me, like, this is such an important thing when you look at the PvP landscape of a game, and trying to spread as much awareness about that by showing you this is what those fights look like, here's what the data looks like, and this is what it is. Like, you can almost kind of do meta testing and make it public for everyone. I understand, again, people like to keep those things internal because alliances and kingdoms like to have those advantages, so it's not necessarily something that they are inclined to share. I get that. But anyways, those are just my thoughts. I'd love to know overall what you guys think about the Cav buffs. Is it moving the needle for you? Is it not? Let me know why in the comments down below. That's going to do it for me. As always, until next time, we'll catch you later.